Autumn Blaze Takes a Class by Sock Puppet. He looked fairly young for a professor, but strode to the front of the room confidently. "Good evening," he said. "I'm Professor Papadopoulos, and this is Great Mysteries of History." As he logged onto the computer and fired up the projector, he continued. "I recognize most of you are engineering majors, in need of one last elective to polish off your humanities requirements." He grinned. "So, we'll keep this class interesting. You'll have great cocktail party banter for the rest of your life." As the computer booted, he pulled a clipboard from his bag. "We aren't tracking attendance, but I would like to start learning your names. I'll go down the roster. Abrams, Brent, here. Adamson, Lisa, here. Blaze, Autumn. Actually..." The speaker was in the middle of the class, and a pony, no, not a pony, one of those related species, she, continued. "I'm Autumn Blaze. It's a mononym, not a first and last name, but it has a space bar in the middle of the mononym, a space baronym." "Autumn Blaze," Professor Papadopoulos said. "Got it." He finished the roll call and brought up a PDF of the syllabus on the projector. It began, Great Mysteries of History, HIST 340. Eric Papadopoulos, PhD, Adjunct Professor. "Hey, sir," asked Abrams. "Brent, what does adjunct mean?" Papadopoulos frowned. "I'm contracted by the class rather than on the tenure track as a permanent employee." "It means," Autumn Blaze said, "he's overworked, underpaid, and has to sell his blood plasma to eat." Papadopoulos looked at her. Kieran, that was it. Immigration had sent him a courtesy email yesterday with a brief information packet on the species. He'd had a unicorn last semester, but Miss Sparkler had been quiet and studious and sat in the back and took notes without speaking much. He said, "I don't have to donate blood. Plasma." Autumn Blaze winked at him and made a gesture that would have been finger guns if she had fingers, but was instead sort of hoof shimmies. "Hey," Adamson, Lisa said. "My cousin took this class 3 years ago and it was taught by a full professor, but tuition has gone up, not down." Professor Papadopoulos sighed. "The economics behind the capital-driven fiscal imperatives of the university and its policies on both hiring and tuition management are sadly both incredibly depressing on an existential level and beyond the purview of this course," he said. "This course is about mysteries, and the university's cheapskateism is well known." The "you idiot" conclusion was implied. "Moving on, you all received the syllabus by email," he said, ignoring Lisa and Autumn Blaze. "But let's go through the class format and expectations." They spent about 15 minutes on the syllabus. Then he closed the PDF and opened up a PowerPoint slide deck and clapped his hands. "Okay, we're going to have a great semester. This class is a lot of fun, but let's spend the rest of our time tonight discussing some of the most puzzling mysteries in history. Not far from here, in fact just south along the coast, was the Lost Colony." He advanced to the first slide, which showed an old drawing of some men in pioneer clothes standing around a tree that had the word Croatoan carved into it. He spent about 5 minutes describing the mysteries around the disappearance of every man, woman and child in the Roanoke colony. "And now, speaking of the lost, what about Atlantis?" He advanced to the next slide, which was a photograph of a damaged marble sculpture of one Olympian goddess or another. Oh, I can explain that. Autumn Blaze waved a hoop over her head. It's in our history too. This mystery has persisted for thousands. King Atlas of Atlantis was a demigod, right? Super strong. He married several human women, but kept, breaking them on their wedding nights. Miss Blaze, Professor Papadopoulos started, but she rolled right over him, her words coming rapidly. Space Baronum! Anyway, so Atlas negotiated with our Queen Spitshine for one of her daughters, Quenched Billet, to be taken as his bride, since a Nereid can stand up to almost anything, right? The class stared at her. But, Autumn Blaze continued, she might have given him the old Hades on his tower of Hercules on the wedding night. Am I right? Ha! The silence deepened. Anyway, long story short, after the Kirans won the war, we had to sink the island to put the fires out. Autumn? Professor Papadopoulos started again. Space bar o nim. Autumn Blaze, he said. I would love to hear more Kiran mythology, but that story hardly seems possible. Your world only contacted ours 5 years ago. The whole Atlas holding the world on his shoulders is a misremembering of how swollen his globes got after the very flamey wedding night. With a deep breath, Professor Papadopoulos minimized PowerPoint and opened another PDF. Its first page showed an elaborately illuminated manuscript. The Voynich manuscript. What is it? It seems to be a herbalist manual, but the language, or more likely, code, is unreadable. Oh, I can read that, Autumn Blaze said. Professor Papadopoulos's eyelid twitched. That's a Kiran medical text. It is? Professor Papadopoulos asked. About what? Cures for sexually transmitted diseases. I don't think it's appropriate. Here, Autumn said, her horn glowing. Page 37 of Voynich. My last cult friend gave me a burning case of flamiphilis. The PDF projected on the screen scrolled rapidly. Professor Papadopoulos grabbed the wireless mouse from the desk and cradled it. Don't levitate my mouse! I'm lecturing! Not touching your mouse, she said, continuing to scroll the PDF. I sat on a USB Wi-Fi dongle a few months back. The student next to her asked, How do you accidentally sit on a Wi-Fi dongle? Autumn made a puzzled face. I didn't say accidentally. Professor Papadopoulos used the mouse to close Acrobat Reader and brought the PowerPoint back up. He advanced another slide which showed a primitive drawing of 2 warships, perhaps galleys, going bow to bow. Flames spouted from the bow of one, landing on the other. Greek fire. What is it? How was it made? How did it work? Lost to history. Poof, that's easy. Miss Autumn Blaze, Professor Papadopoulos said with a cold voice. The best historians, chemists, and chemistry historians have spent literally centuries. My ancestors visited yours, she said defensively. This is a serious class, Miss Autumn Blaze, and her hoof shot up. May I please be excused to go potty? He raised an eyebrow. This is university, Autumn Blaze. No one cares if you show up to class, much less leave early. She slid from her chair, levitated a 2-litre bottle of Coca-Cola from her saddlebags, and trotted from the classroom, guzzling soda straight from the bottle. We've all heard of Cleopatra, said Professor Papadopoulos, advancing to the next slide, which showed a satellite shot of the Nile Valley. But where is her tomb? He lectured for about 5 minutes more before Autumn Blaze returned. She walked to the front of the classroom and put the 2-litre bottle, now filled with a clear liquid, onto the lectern. "I made some Greek fire. Give me an A and I won't prove it." The end. I'm Professor Papadopoulos. Is a